This week on Titan.
747's, 400 inches a minute.
Woo, let's go!
Drag racing on airplanes.
90,000 horsepower. You guys know I'm scared of heights.
Rebuild a 747.
Pull up.
You're gonna hit the ground.
30, 20, 10.
Our country was built on a foundation of American manufacturing.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
But today, we've seen millions of jobs lost, and 100,000 manufacturing plants have been closed.
And to the republic for which it stands.
Join us as we take a stand for American manufacturing and fight to bring those jobs back home.
One nation, one nation, one nation. Under God, under God, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This industry is hidden from the general public, locked behind closed doors. Today, all of that changes. Every week on Titan, we're going to show you great American companies that are manufacturing and doing it big right here in America. We're going to teach advanced manufacturing techniques, and we're going to clearly show you how to bring work back to our shores. It's time to put Americans back to work.
Jim Oberhofer. I'm the Vice President of Operations here at Coletta Motorsports. And, you know, meeting Titan last year when he came down to the shop.
We got this awesome part from Coletta Motorsports for a drag racing engine.
It's a beautiful looking part, Titan.
I've heard Connie Coletta's name for years. They are American built. Oh, you ready, Jenna?
When Connie started drag racing, he was all about drag racing. That's how he made his living. And then he got into the hobby of flying airplanes.
I was on a race team at Ford Motor Car Company. This is back in 1965 is when it started.
Well, in 1967, he won 3 races. And with that money, he bought his first airplane. And pretty soon, Coletta Flying Service was born.
I started out with one airplane. I flew it myself. Then I needed a bigger airplane. Then I needed more airplanes, so it just kept on growing itself.
What was his hobby became his business, and what was his business became his hobby. Not only does he have a top-notch drag racing team, but he has this huge worldwide air cargo company that he has a couple thousand employees.
It's sort of grown itself out of proportion big time in reality. I'm gonna say, who'd ever think I'd have a fleet of 747's?
Connie's all about doing everything in-house. So over on the aviation side, they can rebuild a 747 basically from scratch. They redo engines, they do airframes, they do pilot training.
We do everything. And being able to do that, you service the customer. There's no other airline other than the majors, the 3 major airlines, that have what I have. My competitors, they have to contract everything out. I have the ability to control my destiny. That's where it's ended up today.
His motto that he has, not only with his air cargo company, but his race car team as well, is we can make it happen. I thought it'd be a great idea for Titan to come back down here and check out the aviation side of Coletta's world.
Titan, it's good to see you again. This is Tim at Coletta Motorsports. Welcome to Michigan.
Woo, it's a nice sunny day right here. So top fuel, funny cars, 747s, making it happen. So good.
It's a little bit of everything in between. This is the machine shop We're going to show you around inside here and give you a little feel for what they're doing with some of the freight systems. And then we'll go over to the line so you can see the airplanes and the rest of the maintenance facility, which it'll take us a little while. This place is spread out. Right now, we're in the northern area of Michigan in Oscoda, and then the actual brain center is down in Willow Run, down by the race shop. They're able to see where every plane is, and they know what it's doing, whether it's up here or halfway around the world.
I heard you guys ship like Shamu, cars, and just whatever needs to be shipped around the world, literally around the world, you guys ship it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much, I think, over the years that Connie hasn't shipped.
That's awesome. It's cold.
Stand inside. Well, Titan, this is the manufacturing and repair machine shop. This is just the tip of the iceberg, I guess you'd say, for everything that goes on here as far as keeping the planes in the air.
This is incredible. You have all these Haas machines, and they're making parts for the planes so they can run nonstop.
That's right. I'll show you some of the parts they're making and introduce you to Leroy.
Leroy, Titan.
How you doing?
Very nice to meet you.
Leroy, more or less, he does all the programming with Tim and inspection preparation and making sure everything's running right on the machines.
I hear you guys are using the Autodesk software.
Absolutely, yeah.
You like it?
Oh, yeah.
It's American made,
Yep.
making American parts, and they're all beautiful. You got that American quality going on. So each of the parts, this all has to like be certified. It's like FAA compliant.
Yep, through 121 and 145 standards. They all have tracking documents that go with each part. We retain the PO numbers and such on it. That way we can track each and every part from the...
So if the plane ever crashes, the black box, they can go track that material all the way back.
They can track it back to the guy that made the metal.
Right here.
Yep.
And you're like, it wasn't that part because it's perfect.
Absolutely.
What's this right here?
Well, this is all part of the new freight system that they're working on. Here's a couple of pieces in the evolution from the beginning operations to the final part.
So you spin this on the lathe, cut it off, and then you mill it and make this piece right here. It's beautiful work. So you got brass, what is this, brass 360?
Aluminum, nickel, bronze.
Aluminum, nickel, bronze.
Space age material for all the bushings.
More or less, this is the heart of an air freight company, is the ability to load and unload pallets quick and efficiently and make sure everything's locked down. The key, just like it is in racing, the quicker they can get the pallets loaded, locked down, and the plane back off the ground, the better. That's the only way you make money is when the wheels are up.
I just saw a sign when I was in Florida at Nahilo, and it said, if it ain't turning, you ain't earning. So in another way, that's machining a plane. If it's not flying, then you're not making money, right? So you guys are making it so you guys can get in the air quicker.
Right. Everything we do, faster and lighter. I want to take you over to introduce you to Tim. He's working on the parts that some of this go into on the mill right now.
All right, Leroy, great to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Great job.
All right, thanks.
Next on Titan.
He's like, Titan, you're about to crash. They saved $35,000.
It's drag racing an airplane.
This thing is massive. Thanks for watching this free episode of Titans of CNC. If you love what we're doing, please subscribe to our YouTube channel below. And if you want to learn this trade for free, go to academy.titansofcnc.com and we'll learn it together and take it all to another level. Boom.
There we go.
Well, Titan, I'll take you over here and introduce you to Tim. He's the machine shop manager. Tim, this is Titan.
Tim, very nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
My favorite place to be, in front of a CNC machine that's humming, making music.
That's it.
Cool, so what are you making over here?
We're making a center guide system on the 747-400. There's 72 of them that go down to the center of the aircraft. They come in for repair, they're broke. We make a new one.
Okay.
This is a finished product where it's anodized.
So this is anodized, it's got a clear anodize on it.
Yep.
This is what you're making right there. That's what I hear right now.
Right now we're cutting
Machining this piece right here. This is amazing, look at that. Making parts for 747s right here in Oscoda, Michigan. American made all the way. You guys are just taking a raw stock right now, pocketing everything out, and you guys flip it over. I saw you had some Mighty Bite clamps in there.
Yes, they do a good job.
So you guys just have all different types of parts. I see you have different soft jaws. How many different jobs run on this machine right here?
50 different jobs.
50 different jobs. Did you start off on CNCs or back hand cranking?
Hand cranking, old school, engine lathes, Bridgeports. Got into the CNCs and actually been programming now for a month on with the Autodesk.
It makes it so easy, right?
Yes, it does. That was amazing
awesome.
how I caught on so fast.
When you hand crank with the Bridgeports and you understand the fundamentals of making a part, flipping it over, doing everything, Autodesk becomes just a tool.
Yes.
It simplifies everything and makes it quick, right?
Yes. You know all the basics when you're running a basic machine.
Exactly.
So now you got a computer that takes all the hard work out of it. With all the different angles and the chamfers and radiuses, it's amazing what you can do with it.
Woo, moving right there.
Right there is off.
What's that, 400 inches a minute?
400 inches a minute, 400 solid depth of cut.
Got everything to make pretty much anything right here, doing it big. Very nice to meet you.
Yep, good meeting
All right.
you too.
Good to see you, Tim.
Yep.
Take care.
Now that is a sign of success.
Tony, let me show you one of the key components that Connie's sort of redeveloped here to help with the freight handling and moving system. Here, this is Ken Apple.
Ken, very nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you, Tony. I'm Ken Apple. I'm the maintenance manager at Oscoda's maintenance facility for Coletta Air. Our machine shop is another important asset that we need on a day-to-day basis to keep our airplanes flying.
He's looking right now at the pallet roller bearing system that Connie has actually designed, redesigned, and improved on from what they were in the original time. And Ken can tell you a little bit more about it.
What this is the ball transfer unit that goes on the main deck of a 747-400 freighter. The original design, the lower casing was made out of aluminum, and when you loaded the freight onto it, it actually blew the bottom of the ball out.
Okay. Does this ball, it actually moves.
Yes, it does. There's ball bearings inside.
Okay.
It's a way for transferring the freight on top of the airplane, moving to different positions. What we did is we actually redesigned it. We tightened up the tolerances. We started making it out of 17-4 stainless instead of the aluminum that it was made out of before.
So was the aluminum, was it just crushing like the part when you had the pallets going on top of it?
747 will hold 240,000 to 250,000 pounds of freight on the main deck and the pits.
That is crazy.
There are mats right inside the cargo door. It has these rollers inside, so when you put your freight into the airplane, it moves smoothly, and then it shifts direction to load it into the airplane.
So there's a whole bunch of these that are just all across the floor and it just rolls right up. Okay.
A Boeing converted freighter, you're looking at probably about 700 of these on the main deck.
Coletta Air is solving problems and controlling their own destiny all at the same time. They have a stronger American-made part that they make for $150 in-house. They were paying just about $200. So at 700 units per airplane, saving $50 per, they saved $35,000. And they used to be aluminum, they used to be weak, and now they're 17-4 stainless steel, American-made, right here.
American-made, patented by Connie Coletta.
You guys have the patent on it?
We have the patent on this unit, yes, sir. And with the PMA authorization, we can sell to other customers also.
Man, that feels so good.
Ken's going to show us the rest of the facility here, and we'll take a look at where these go, where the pallet lock system goes. We'll take a look at the airplane repair and engine maintenance systems. So we need to get out the door and get over to the other side of the base.
All right, Titan, let's go.
Cool.
Next on Titan.
Rebuild a 747 from scratch.
Woo, it's gold!
A second and a quarter, the car's going 100 miles an hour.
Man, this thing is massive. How do you get the cargo in?
The cargo door opens up, and then they have platforms, K-loaders that actually lift the freight up and then moves it in.
For big weight.
For big weight.
Big weight. For heavyweights. Woo, it's gold! That's awesome! They're bigger than my truck.
This gives you an idea of the size of a 747. This is one of the landing struts. This whole thing is machined. It was actually designed in the 60s on a piece of paper, machined probably by manual machines at the Boeing plant, and here it is today, still running. And you can see just by the size and the scope of it, how much weight it has to hold. I mean, the arm's as big as you are.
870,000 pounds resting right on the landing gear assembly, built right in Seattle, USA. American manufacturing at its finest right there. I love it. American. Yeah. This place is huge. That's all the parts. They're on the machine right now.
Yep. This is essentially the business side of a 747, the inside.
So these guys right here, they just latch onto the pallet, holding it down.
When the cargo comes into the door opens up and it drives onto the mats back here. The drive rollers take the pallets and push it to the other side of the airplane.
Okay.
Then they rotate and they take the freight and move it forward. It's all driven by wheels. There's joysticks all the way down the side of the airplane for moving the freight. Essentially, one person can stand at the door and they can load the entire airplane by themselves. The position of the freight inside the airplane is critical to the balance of the airplane.
It's all machine parts.
It's all machine parts.
All of it.
Connie's all about doing everything in-house. So over on the aviation side, they can rebuild a 747 basically from scratch and have it up and flying again.
These are the center guides that we were watching being made down in the VF6 and machine shop. This is what holds your pallet in place to keep it from shifting in flight. Your center part here is for a commercial-sized pallet. It'll hook under here. If you have a military-sized pallet, it'll hook under here.
Okay, awesome.
It'll actually flip down for the commercial size.
So if it's not precision and it's off a little bit, then it might put the whole cargo in jeopardy, right? Because it wouldn't have the teeth, wouldn't like lock perfectly.
Absolutely, when you're talking about thousands of pounds of weight just being restrained by the clips and the bear traps on the loading system, it's critical that everything fits properly.
This is actually the roller right here. All these guys, that's your patented roller right there. 17.4 stainless steel.
American made.
American made.
The amount of professionalism that we have here is second to none. We have the facilities, the personnel, the equipment to make virtually any part we need for the aircraft.
When 9/11 happened and the planes hit the building, I heard that you guys were actually the only private citizens that flew in.
The day after the towers were hit, Coletta 747 was the only civilian airplane in the sky the following day being escorted by Air Force fighter pilots. They had medical supplies that they essentially picked up in California that they were taking to New York City.
Having your machine shops, your testing facilities, quality control, everything all under one roof, it allows you guys to make decisions and make moves that a lot of people probably couldn't make, right?
You know, we've got 5 hangars, 2 engine shops, engine test facility. I mean, almost 1,000 people, everybody working towards one common goal, keeping the airplanes flying. If they're not flying, you're not making money. So.
Absolutely.
Next on Titan.
Don't expect to see this in a small town in northern Michigan.
90,000 horsepower American built, and we died. Woo-hoo.
Titan, this is what we call heavy maintenance.
Heavy maintenance is right. That thing is massive. I mean, it's like the same size as the plane out there, 747, but in here, in this hangar, it just looks massive.
It is.
Oh.
It is big. Behind me, you'll see one of Connie's 747s that's in here for heavy maintenance. It's just like a car. The airplanes have to be looked at periodically to make sure that everything is going right on them. They're disassembled, inspected, Anything that's damaged is repaired, and then they're reassembled.
I know we were talking about like cars coming in and they gotta get serviced, and this is a 747, it's similar, but it's not the same. You guys are completely taking this thing apart, taking the engines apart, and then redoing everything. It's almost like making a new plane without doing the whole body.
Every so many hours, it has to have a full inspection to look at certain parts of the airplane to make sure there's no damage, make sure it's still safe to fly.
How do you guys get your employees?
We have a lot of military retirees and veterans that work for us. We get a lot of students out of A&P schools, like MIAT downstate. We've even got a lot of people that we get right from the streets here, and we teach them the business from the ground up. We've got people here that started as a parts runner that are now supervisors. You have to grow your own.
So you're doing your own engines, taking them all apart, rebuilding them, machining all your own parts, doing sheet metal, like basically just gutting the entire plane all under one roof.
We do it all?
You do it all. And it's like you're controlling your own destiny.
We are.
And for fun, this business funds 4 race teams down in Detroit. They're just making the world proud, making it happen.
Connie's got 2 passions, drag racing and airplanes.
Airplanes. Which came first?
I would have to say drag racing.
Drag racing. What's better, driving a Top Fuel or a 747?
They both have their own end run, let's put it like that. Driving the race car, it's a real rush. I mean, you set in something in a second and a quarter from the time you step on the throttle. The car's going 100 miles an hour. That's a real rush in itself.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Titan, I've been up here a few times now, and every time I come up here, I'm just overwhelmed by everything that's going on. The size, the scale, the scope, the number of people that are working, the number of planes that are in and out, it's just impressive. That's the only word you can use for it. You know, we have a team with 4 race cars. They've got a team up here with 900 people, 25 or so airplanes flying all around the world, taking care of everything they need to take care of. They don't send this plane out to get the wheels redone somewhere else. They don't send it out to get the sheet metal put on. They do it all right here. They take care of it, and when Connie needs this plane halfway around the world, it'll be leaving here when it's supposed to leave here, and it'll be halfway around the world when it's supposed to be halfway around the world. And it's Ken and everybody here that make sure that happens. And it's just amazing, and I'm glad you were able to come up here and see it all, and that you could share it with everybody else, because you just don't expect to see this in a small town in northern Michigan. Yeah. This many people, this good at what they do and this passionate about what they do, just doing it every day and just making this place what it is.
You know how this whole thing happened? You know, we wanted to do an episode on Top Fuel. We ended up making and machining a part. We decided to do it on the show. But during the making of that episode, I heard about this amazing air freight company, Coletta Air, the man who won some races, who bought a plane, who built it up, and now has all these 747s, all these hangars, employs all these workers. I just wanted to come back here with my team to show the viewers what the American dream is all about.
He started off flying the planes himself. I mean, that was the way this company started, was with Connie flying the planes. And he's flown probably every plane you have here at some point, hasn't he?
I'd venture.
Actually, when I don't fly, I miss it. And I look forward to going and flying the airplane for a couple hours. It's just a natural thing. I've got thousands of hours, probably somewhere around 35,000 hours of flying.
And you know what's even more impressive? This plane is so big, but even bigger than that in this building is that great American flag right there. That has to be the biggest one I've ever seen. That is amazing.
Titan, I've got some more stuff to show you over here.
Awesome.
Next on Titan.
If we don't do our job correctly, this engine could fail.
Pull up.
We're gonna hit the ground.
30, 20, 10.
This is where they do the big motors.
We got anything in the machine?
Running right now.
Perfect.
So Tim, this is a big old grinder right here, huh?
Yeah, this is their Dinobat turbine housing grinder. They actually run the housings through here when they're doing a rebuild to get things ground back down to spec.
Okay.
Very tight tolerance, like everything else on a jet engine. This thing is precise to the point where it sits on a 10-foot thick concrete pad to isolate it even from vibrations in the next room. That's how accurate they like to hold the tolerances and the fit on these parts. The tighter the tolerance, the more power the engine makes, because everything on this, it's about air leaks. And if you have too much gap between the turbine blades and the housing anywhere, then you have an air leak, then you don't make as much thrust, you don't make as much power. It's essentially less efficient, like a regular car engine that's not running right.
This has to be absolutely perfect. When this thing is finished grinding, I can see you only have a few tenths now. How do you inspect it?
Well, this is a special machine. I mean, there's only a few of these in the world. The CNC controllers move the head out of the way, and they're going to move basically a CMM inspection arm down to check the turbine, just like you would on your regular CNC machine with a basic touch probe.
And this is like cargo airplanes that you're making these for, and I fly all the time, so I already feel safer.
There you go.
Right?
It's just like the plane
Precision.
that you fly.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's like a CMM. It's just like at our shop when Sean uses a CMM to come down and probe the part, make sure it's perfect. This machine has a built-in probing system that's gonna come down and actually inspect the part right in the machine.
So as soon as it's finished being inspected, this is going to go back over to the assembly room. They'll put this together, and eventually it'll get back over onto the airplane. But right now, why don't we head over and we'll take a look at the assembly room and where this goes.
All right, let's go check it out.
Let's go.
My name's Rich Bray. I'm the Director of Power Plants for Coletta Air. I've been working for Connie Coletta since 1995 when I retired from the United States Air Force. We actually take care of building all the engines for Connie's fleet of 747s. See the blade tip here? So what happens is you actually have these blade tips the same here. So what we're going to do is cut these down so that that shroud that you saw being cut over there actually runs like this up against the shroud. And so we cut these down so that the dimension remains in the 10 thousandths clearance area, even as it runs.
So you guys pretty much do all your own engines?
Oh yeah. Yep.
How much are these blades, Rich?
I think those are $6,500 a piece. And I think these are about $7,800 a piece. These are individual
pieces,
right?
$6,500 a piece. So you can, if one gets damaged, you could actually replace
just take
one.
it out, unbolt it, take it out, put a new one in, and then relock it. But this is not rocket science either. You take anybody with mechanical ability, and you can teach them how to do this.
Yeah.
Who'd ever think I'd have a fleet of 747s? Then to be able to take care of them all. We do everything.
Our job is to turn a product that gives Connie the most efficient engine to put on wing, to use the least amount of fuel, to gain the best DGT margins so that we can move freight around the world from the United States to the troops overseas and back to folks right here in the United States. So in this portion of the shop right here is where we actually do the balance. So the HPT that you saw being ground, the case, would match up with the stages that we saw, first and second stage blades. Yeah. And we'll put it on this machine and we will check balance front plane to rear plane.
What's the tolerance you guys are dealing with?
Well, we're running at about 600 RPM and the machine actually tells us where the bullseye is. In other words, where we want to be with a balance, and you work in moment weight areas, so we're talking like the weight of a hair. So it actually pinpoints it to a 0 vibration area and a perfect balance.
Next on Titan.
You guys know I'm scared of heights.
Then it blows, and then it goes.
Flying over to San Quentin prison.
So in this portion of the shop right here is where we actually do the balance. This machine, we actually take those fan blades. We take a fan blade, we put it in this jig, and then the computer looks at each blade that we've put in, and as you can see, they're numbered. Once they're in the machine tells us where we're actually going to put those in the hub so that we get a balance out of the run from the beginning. The importance of putting this engine together front to rear properly is paramount. If we don't do our job correctly, then this engine could fail on wing prematurely, and there's no place to pull a 747 off the side of the road at 30,000 feet to make a fix. So what we do here at Titan is we bring the engines in, we stage them in each bay. Each bay will have a little bit of something different going on. These two bays that you see here, we're swapping external parts from engine to engine for an engine run. This bay over here, we have an engine that is missing the high pressure turbine. The piece that you were looking at in the machine shop is being ground. Once it's ground, the assembly will be brought and attached to the engine. Behind these nozzle guide vanes is a combustor. It's just one huge compressor. And instead of a piston combustion engine, it's a compressor combustion engine. So
a fan that can flip cars though, right?
It can flip cars, absolutely. So we suck the air in, we squeeze it, we ignite it, that's the bang.
Yeah.
Then it blows, and then it goes, and that's thrust.
Awesome.
And then when it's together, and I'll show you an engine that's ready for test, that engine from front to back has went through the process of disassembly, clean, inspect, repair, reassembly, ready for test. We produce approximately 35 of our own engines each year in this facility, and we do customer engines as well. And we're responsible from the fan to the turbine rear frame on this engine in this building, and on the JT9, JT8, CFM56, and another engine. All those engines are then tested at our test facility on the other side of the base here, where we run the engines to thrust and test all their margins and airflows for efficiency. This engine's ready for test. This is an 80C2 General Electric, and this one actually has the fan blades installed. This is what produces 75 to 80% of the thrust for each engine for the aircraft. So multiply this by 4, and at top thrust rating, you're over 62,000 pounds of thrust. And so it takes the air in, and that of course has to be sustained somehow. That's sustained with the core engine back here. And so once this thing is lit, it's going to stay lit like a candle until you blow it out or remove the fuel.
That's incredible. I'm like in awe.
And so that's what we do here in our world at Coletta Air, is make sure best product every time, every day, American proud, American right.
Titan, this is the Coletta Air engine test cell. This is what they call a 10-meter test cell because of the width and the size of it. They use this for testing all the engines after they get them out of the shop. This whole platform lowers down, hooks up to the engine.
Yeah.
They take it back up, close the engine cowls. All the air from the inlet side comes through those louvers, through the engine, and the exhaust out through the tailpipe. It gives us a chance to actually run the engines to make sure that all the parameters are correct, so it'd be just like it was on an airplane. If you've got the right amount of thrust, your temperatures are good, it just checks everything out.
So Coletta actually built this facility so he could test his own engines. If he wasn't doing it himself, he'd probably have to pay somebody else to do it.
He'd essentially have to send it out to another shop, and Connie likes doing stuff in-house, so he decided to build himself a test cell.
So like he said, controlling his own destiny, right?
Absolutely.
So good. If you got 10,000 horsepower on a top fuel, what kind of horsepower do you have on something like this? 747 engine.
A 747 GE engine runs about 60,000 pounds of thrust.
60,000 pounds. What is that in horsepower, in English?
Well, I think that's, let's see, it's probably about 90,000 horsepower.
Is that 90,000?
I think I saw somewhere it's about 1.5 horsepower to a pound of thrust. It's not direct, but it's a lot of power.
90,000 horsepower, American built. Boom!
The only thing we need to do now is get you down back to Ypsilanti and get you in the cockpit. You ready for
cockpit.
that? Yeah.
Ooh, I can't wait. Can I fit? Can heavyweights fit?
I think we got some pilots that are about your size, so you'll be all right.
Oh, I can't wait. I got in a NASCAR, barely got into a NASCAR, I'm telling you that. It was awesome. This place is incredible.
Next on Titan.
747, I'm gonna try my hand at flying. CNC machinist flying a 747.
Shake him up, see what he's made of.
What an incredible day here at Coletta Air. I'm having a great time with Team Coletta. We're gonna jump in this simulator right here for a 747. I'm gonna try my hand at flying. You guys know I'm scared of heights, but this is gonna be quite the ride. Let's do this. Bill.
Titan.
Very nice to see you again.
Good to see you. You ready to go flying? I'm Bill Rhodes. I'm the Director of Training and Flight Standards
which means I'm responsible for all the pilot training here at Coletta Air. And so all the pilots that fly for us, they are my responsibility to initially train them on a continuing basis and make sure they're proficient and flying the planes the way Connie expects them to fly the planes.
Oh. So we can just go off to like San Francisco, maybe go over to Hawaii.
That sounds like a good flight for the day.
A nice day.
Yeah, good day's flying. Well, I'm ready. We got this plane ready to go.
All right, let's do this.
My name is Heath Nickel. I'm the Director of Airline Safety. I've been with Coletta Organizations and part of the Coletta family for over 26 years. We're excited today because we have Titan coming in. We hear he's afraid of heights, so we're going to shake him up in our simulator and see what he's made of.
All right, so push him up, let him spool up, and then hit those two buttons and they'll be gone. Oh, we got thrust ref. Put your hand on the yoke.
Here we go.
You got airspeed. 80 knots thrust hold.
This simulator does everything the actual airplane does. The fidelity, the pitch, the roll, the sounds.
V1, VR, start nice slow rotation.
We get new students in here, they come out sweating, we've had them cry, we had them throw up. This simulator does exactly what the airplane does.
Hold what you got, a little bit more. Pull back just a little more. Got it. All right, gears coming up.
Absolutely beautiful day for flying there.
It is.
Pull back a little bit, or we're good?
No, you're good. You can go where you want to now.
Bill, you gotta have one of the greatest jobs ever. He's like, Titan, you're about to crash.
Yeah, this part's nice. You're doing good. Yeah, you got the hang of this.
This is one of the top flight simulators in the world. It's worth millions. Just the graphics software alone is over $1 million.
It's not a toy, it's not a video game. It's the real deal. It's reserved for training of professional pilots. Normally, anyone that's not a professional pilot going through training can't get into this kind of device.
Titan is taking us on a sightseeing tour of San Francisco.
Heading over to Pier 9 Autodesk. Carl Bass, here we come. Flying over to San Quentin Prison. We are giving men the skills to make it on the outside.
Love what you said about, starting with CNC.
Through advanced technology, bringing American manufacturing back to the USA.
500.
Oh, this is awesome! Whoa! It's gonna take it up a little bit. CNC machinist flying a 747. Boom!
Don't like booms on airplanes.
Or on a machine.
It's 4 random aircraft. There's our flight path into them, so we should see them in the windscreen here any minute.
Passing the plane just over top.
Oh, yeah,
that side. Got 2 planes out there. If you get down to 0, you're going to hit the ground.
30, 20, 10.
Ooh.
Next on Titan.
Keep your seatbelts on. Getting some turbulence. Oh, we got a fire.
Terrain. Pull up. Pull up.
If you get down to 0, you're going to hit the ground.
30, 20, 10.
I tried to kiss it and we died. Oh man, that was awesome. Woo-hoo. That was amazing.
Want to do another rotation and we can put put some weather in there for you, Titan.
Yeah, that'd be
cool.
awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
We get all types of flight crew training going on in our simulator. We've had Air Force One pilots come in that fly the president around. We've had military flights. We have air tanker crews come in and fly. We take all types of crews, train them in the 747 to fly for Coletta Air. Titan's been doing an excellent job flying us around. We're now heading to Honolulu. We're going to fly over Pearl Harbor here, and he's going to follow the coast. Since he's doing so well, we're going to kind of shake it up a little bit and start plugging in some abnormals and see how he handles it. Stay tuned.
Now we got weather radar for you. That's what they got for you. That's what you're headed into.
Ooh, you got some lightning. Keep your seatbelts on. We're flying through some clouds and getting some turbulence. So I'm like
We put
totally
some terrain
turned
up
around,
there.
right?
No, actually, you're just about over the airport. Just come to your right just a little bit, and you'll be right over Honolulu International.
Oh, there we go.
Sink rate.
Leveling out.
When it gets to the edge of there, let's put an engine fire.
Just came out of the rain. Came from
Too
San
low.
Francisco. 200 feet, coming towards Waikiki.
Uh-oh, got a little fire there.
Oh, we got a fire.
Terrain. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Hey, you got this. I'm
Pull
gonna take care of
up.
the fire
Pull up.
All right.
while you're
Pull
flying.
up. Pull up. Pull up.
Approaching.
Titan's dealing with an engine fire on the right side of the airplane, trying to take command of the airplane with an engine out.
All right, so you got number 3 engine shut down. You still got 3 engines though.
I can feel it.
The engine just went out on my right side, and immediately I felt a pull pulling me down this way. So I'm putting just enough pressure to keep this thing solid. This is amazing.
Go back over toward the left. Everything in there, they're the actual instruments, the seats, everything is what's actually in a 747 aircraft, and that's what we train with. It's FAA certified to land, so when our pilots come out of this simulator, they're fully qualified to fly a 747 without ever actually having touched an actual airplane. All right, Titan, this is where you're gonna start sweating.
Because I'm gonna land it.
Engine just went out, and now I have to figure out how to land this right on this runway with everything pushing and pulling and my seat vibrating.
A little bit high right now. Keep it
It's going down right now.
Keep rolling the bank. Pull back a little
Approaching
bit.
minimums.
Yeah, you're doing great right now. Hold what you
50,
got. Start
40,
pulling back. Flare it.
30,
A little
20,
bit more.
10.
Okay, you can fly that nose down. All right, you're back up in the air, so pull back just a little bit. There you go. Let that nose settle down.
Beautiful landing.
Get your speed brakes. Nice landing.
Beautiful landing.
Look at you.
I couldn't gauge my height. I didn't know I was like on the ground already, but I'm 32 feet up.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard for pilots to get used to that when they start first fly this airplane. Very impressed. I think we could take him in, and Connie would like having him fly for us.
Woohoo! Safe landing in Honolulu, Hawaii.
You didn't roll us up to the beach.
Oh!
Yeah,
Great job, Bill. Yeah,
nice job.
Not
only did you fly well, but you landed it first try. But people just can't do that. That doesn't
awesome.
happen.
That's
that was
awesome.
awesome. But that was an excellent job.
I got a complete respect for all the pilots out there, keeping all the civilians like me safe when we're traveling to and fro. Great job, guys. USA, boom.
Fantastic. Thank you.
The Coletta team is a good representation of the American workforce. We're builders and problem solvers.
You did awesome, man.
Oh, brother.
You did awesome,
so good.
man.
So good.
These guys have learned to take 747 engines apart. They can rebuild an entire airplane. They do the machining, they do the grinding, they do the electrical work, they build it, they put it all together. And because they do it all in-house, they control their own destiny. And a plane that would cost 600 or 700 million is built and put into the sky at a fraction of the price with great American quality. They saw a problem, they solved it, and they're making it happen worldwide, in the air and on the racetrack.
So Titan, you've been here at Coletta Motorsports, you went out to Coletta Air. What do you think?
What an amazing company you guys have. Thousands of employees. You guys are racing cars, top fuel funding cars, doing it big in racing. And then the 747s. You got CNC machines up there. You guys are just making it happen. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. It is the American dream, for real. So good.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you, Titan.
Thank you for everything. Thanks for having me again. Oh, so good. We are right outside Detroit, Michigan. Coletta Motorsports, Coletta Air, the American dream. It's all American built. Boom.
We'll just go to red line then.
Ready? All American built. Boom.
That was a long pause.
I just looked at him. 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, wait. 3. Boom!
Thought you were doing American film. 3 people will never get it right.
1, 2, 3.